Why invest in Malta at this point in time? Clearly there's a lot of value to be found in various jurisdictions on a global level. Why invest in Malta?
Well, Malta's property market has really fared well during the financial crisis, and this because of a lot of motivating factors that have kept the foreign investor returning to Malta and coming to invest more in whether in property, but mainly for reasons other than the property market itself. There's a big demand in terms of the financial services industry in Malta. That is a big area of growth. Malta has established itself as a very reputable financial centre. There are tax advantages that attract a lot of businesses to Malta. And of course, the byproduct of this is that many expatriates take up residence in Malta and take advantage of the opportunities in the market.
I mean, it's interesting you said that the property market didn't slump as badly as what we saw in the developed world, but it seems that investors are looking for prices that are looking relatively cheap right now. If your property prices in Malta didn't come under pressure, then why go and invest in a property market that is still relatively buoyant?
Well, in reality, from a domestic point of view, the property value is relatively high. However, when looked at by an external investor, what you would get for a given price in Malta, you would get half of that in many other European jurisdictions. So in terms of the price comparison between countries, Malta's property market is undervalued in a way. So and this is why the property market is on the rise. It's been on the rise for the last 10 years. But still it hasn't come to the international average. And
what return on investment are we looking at on a year-to-year basis? What kind of growth in the property market?
Well, I can tell you just a month ago I had a client who entered into a preliminary agreement, so he hadn't actually bought the property, and he had so much demand for the property itself that he managed to sell the right to buy it, making a €200,000 profit without ever forking out the money to buy it. So before buying it, he had already made a profit, and now he's looking into the next
And this on the backdrop that property prices are still not on international levels.
Exactly.
So what percentage are we looking at here in terms of below international market prices?
Easily 30% less. Now, of course, you need to be a discerning buyer. So if you need to look at for the untrodden ground, if you know what I mean. There are lots of property agents. Many of them are very reputable and can be trusted. It's not uncommon for you to compare prices and see whether one is quoting at a higher value than another.
You were talking about investment opportunities. I mean, a lot of people, when looking to buy property, say for instance, such a spectacular place such as Malta, then obviously you do it from a holiday perspective. Are holiday homes relatively cheaper than the market price on a global level?
Well, they are. However, you'd have two categories of people looking for holiday property. Somebody who would want to sublet it or maybe live in it for a very short time during the year would look at the apartment or the small maisonette that overlooks the sea, easily lockable. Others who would want to move a bit more permanently would look for a bigger property, villa with pool and tennis court and so on, at prices that are ridiculously cheap compared to what you would get in the other islands.
Okay, so what's the complication here? Because obviously there's a lot of regulations that one needs to adhere to, and also if you're going to be investing in offshore property, you need to be sure that you can trust the people that are dealing with all the paperwork.
Ironically, the major complication is also an advantage, an opportunity. You would need to be able to visit Malta and to be resident in Malta to enjoy your property. And taking up residence in Malta is, in effect, an opportunity in the sense that for South Africans, for instance, and other non-EU citizens, it presents the opportunity, once established residence in Malta, to obtain free movement within Europe, within the Schengen area, without the complications of visas and so on. And as a byproduct of obtaining residence in Malta, you're able to buy property which you would otherwise not have access to.
In terms of tax complications as well, I mean, we know that tax scenario is far better in Malta than what it is here in South Africa when it comes to property.
Yeah. Well, we have exemptions on the resale of property, outright exemptions, as long as the investor retains the property for at least 3 years. It's a generally favourable environment. Many of the investors actually avoid the tax on the resale by retaining it for at least 3 years. And those who sell before that probably make a lot of profit and therefore don't mind the tax associated with it.
An average price of a home in Malta in US dollar terms, just to give an indication of what we're looking at.
Very decent, very modern accommodation would start off in the region of 150,000 euros. And that might even include a sea view. So it's not uncommon.
150,000 euros, 1.5 million rand about.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jean-Phillipe,
It's
for
a
your
pleasure.
time. Appreciate it.